Digital games as we know today have come through a long evolution. From a simple tennis game developed in a physicist's lab in 1958, games have evolved into a much more complex and rich in creativity medium made available by our contemporary technology. A person playing a video game in the 21st century will be able to feel emotionally affective experiences. So far, those experiences were only available in mediums such as film or literature.
As he is.
Oh, Fugazi. It's fake.
Yeah, Fugazi.
The player will feel engaged in games which they perceive as compelling, if the game managed to surpass the various expectations related to cognitive and affective aspects towards the game. This audio-visual essay will analyze how video games can achieve greater affective involvement through the use of qualities that were found only in movies and literature. According to Kaleja, in order to achieve a complete immersion within a game, it is important to take into consideration a few steps to aid clarifying our understanding of involvement and immersion through the identification of a set of categories that favorize a deep involvement in video games. This is why he created the player involvement model, which explored the affective involvement dimension related to emotional engagement in games, as well as the combination of both affective involvement and the combination of other dimensions of this model. Each involvement has a role in every video game, providing an immersive experience to the player. There are 6 types of dimensions within the player involvement model, which are spatial involvement, narrative involvement, kinesthetic involvement, shared involvement, ludic involvement, and lastly, affective involvement. By analyzing those involvement models, we can see that games with different genres and styles still have similarities when using the dimension of the player involvement model. For example, horror games such as Resident Evil 7 or Fear will use audio, whether it be for music, cutscenes, or ambiances, so as to achieve spatial and affective involvement, to inspire terror and fear in the player, and facilitate a better immersion. On the other hand, the peaceful game called Flower, despite achieving a complete opposite emotion, will still use the same dimensions, which are spatial and affective involvement, by also using audio to share satisfaction and peace among the players. However, it is also important to highlight the differences. In fact, the game Flower, despite successfully using kinesthetic involvement, will not be as impactful compared to the kinesthetic used in FPS such as Counter-Strike, where its control in game development have much more impact. A good example of a game that successfully employs a player involvement model is Grand Theft Auto V, inspired on the movie also called Grand Theft Auto, released in 1977. The story of Grand Theft Auto V tried to get the player involved by having multiple characters that can be controlled manually and have a deep impact on the missions. For example, controlling the character that will hack the alarm system of a jewelry store and then swapping control to his friend that is already inside that same jewelry store and secretly robbing it. This bond the player will develop with those characters will have a deep impact on shared but also the narrative involvement as well, as the player can be asked some hard choices such as choosing to sacrifice one of his friends.
So I really do have to pick something. What? Why would I want to kill either of those? Obviously you want to go with Death Wish. Let's do it.
Or face the consequences if he does not comply. Both choices will change drastically the storyline and gameplay, as some function one mission will be impacted. This combination of narrative, ludic and also shared involvement is what makes GTA 5 such a compelling game. And another few examples of games using the player involvement model are MMORPGs, as they combine multiple characteristics such as graphic, audio and even environmental physics in order to have an affective involvement on the players. World of Warcraft have developed a dependence on extending the participation of the players in their vast virtual world and have designed charming landscape wherein one can roam alone or with their party of friends, allowing for more involving experience compared to view an attractive image through a non-interactive media. On the other hand, Guild Wars 2 proposed a dynamic quest line happening in the world where the player explores. With or without the player interaction, those quests will impact the world and the player will see the change in this area by having NPC having a different narrative and the world changing depending on the outcome of those quests. This detail of choosing who is going to be inside that village, whether it is some friendly NPCs or enemy monsters, is what make the narrative involvement of Guild Wars 2 very effective. In conclusion, the player model is a set of rules that guide the designers to create a game that will encourage the player to have experiences in specific setting they find appealing. A rulebook that dictates if a level in an MMORPG is aesthetic and peaceful, or if the sound design that generates tension of dark space and impending danger in horror games is achieved, or yet again, controls in game environments that engage the player in tense battle in FPS. All of this to create a digital experience that will emotionally engage the player based on their desire generated by movies or literature.